Chico State has a new police chief, but his welcome has been far from traditional. A memorandum to the university staff and students welcoming the chief was met by a verbal assault by a tenured professor who drew harsh criticism from Chico. Action News Now anchor Debbie Cobb investigates the controversy.
The bells toll on the Chico State campus, but inside, University President Gail Hutchinson is trying to do damage control. Her Vice President, Ann Sherman, put out a memorandum welcoming the interim police chief, Matt Dillon, and simply stating it's been a challenging time for the University Police Department.
We support law enforcement. In fact, I'm a strong advocate of law enforcement in our University Police Department. I have been, I always have been.
But Chico State Professor Dr. Lindsay Briggs responded to the memorandum welcoming the chief on her personal social media account, saying Sherman was pandering to the University Police Department. Briggs dropping the F-bomb and calling Chico State administrators out of touch. Dr. Briggs, a self-described feminist and anarchist, was unable to go on camera, but told me she stands by her statement and called exception to Sherman editorializing about how it has been a, quote, challenging time for UPD. Briggs stating, you know what is more challenging than being a police officer, being a black person who is murdered by a police officer because of systemic racism, end quote. The exchange triggered numerous complaints from the community and Chico State alumni, but President Hutchinson says hurtful speech is free speech.
Freedom of speech at times may be abhorrent speech, even hurtful speech.
The man at the center of this storm, Interim Chief Dillon, has been at the helm just 1 week.
I think when you've been doing this job as long as you have, you know, people are going to have their opinions, and social media certainly makes it easy to express those very quickly.
President Hutchinson did say she is not aware of any incidents or history of prejudice or racism by any university police officer toward any student or staff member. So in these halls of academia, what, if any, action will be taken against Dr. Briggs? Well, that's an answer we may never know. President Hutchinson could not discuss Dr. Briggs' situation specifically because it's a personnel matter. And when I asked her if she was aware of any incidents or history of prejudice or racism by any university police officer toward any student or staff member, she said no. We also talked to a few students on campus, and while they said they did not necessarily support Dr. Briggs' statement, they did support her right to free speech on her personal accounts, but did not want to hear her opinions in the classroom.
Not always. If it's in a professional setting or a public speech or something, definitely not. But if it's on their own personal, private forum, then of course it's always available.
On the Chico State campus, Debbie Cobb, Action News Now. Coverage you can count on.
Dr. Hutchinson says she is establishing a task force with a diverse representation of students, staff, university police, and community members to assure students and staff of every race that they feel welcome on campus.